Why is it not playing? A very good evening, everybody. This is Gulf Harbour Radio, ZMH 286, Patricia and David. And I have to start the evening with telling you how glorious our weather was today. I'm not sure why I'm going away, because it has been an absolutely glorious winter, really. I mean, yes, we've had the odd miserable spells, and I think we're due for another one starting Monday, but boy, we get days like today, 17 degrees, very, very light winds. It's cold at night time, and it's progressing to be cold now. It's 15 degrees outside, but most of the day 17. 1028.8 on the bar, lovely anticyclone, which Rewa is making use of. 5 knots, well, at the moment it's south-southwest. It's been south-southeast, south, and now it's just barely south-southwest. And about 85% just thin cloud cover. So a really lovely spell of weather here, and makes you think about planting things for the summer. But it won't last, unfortunately, for the lambs that are all being born around us, but it has been one out of the box. So I'm going to go straight to Rewa, who was really making use of good strong winds to increase their position. And, well, the battle that David had between me on my GFS and him on his ECMWF has been resolved, because he was looking at the wrong latitude yesterday. He was looking at Rewa's position the day before. So anyway, let's see what they've actually got. Rewa, Gulf Harbour. Well, no sign of Rewa tonight, probably battling the wind. Good 20 knots by the look of the models. So in case he's just a little bit late, what I'll do is ask David to do a bit of a roundup. Are you going to do a roundup of the weather tonight?
Yeah,
oh, you could do that. Okay, here's David with a roundup.
Okay, good evening. So what I'm looking at right now is the Southwest Pacific, which is where you are. And that nice high that is just to the west of New Zealand is actually going to be moving, not smartly, but probably at an average speed to the east. And when that happens, then I'm afraid we've got more depression information for you coming into New Zealand, and a cold front coming up toward Fiji. But anyway, right now that's not the case. We've got a ridge that comes just, well, the axis of it runs basically from just to the west of New Zealand to the northeast, runs northeast, all the way up to, say, Wallace-Futuna, if you were to draw a line between just to the west of New Zealand up to Wallace and Futuna. That's the axis. And that means the winds that are on the east side of the axis are going to be pretty much southeast winds, and the winds on the other side are going to be east-northeast. And that's the prelude to that bad weather that's heading east. A lot of wind in this. The isobars are really packed together considerably. So anyway, we might as well do what we did yesterday, and I won't read the actual forecasts from the Met services because you'll fall asleep. I'll just paraphrase. So looking at Fiji, they still have that strong wind warning for all Fiji waters, and the winds are going to be southeast 20 to 30 between today and tomorrow. And then for the day after, southeast winds still, and that's 20 to 25 knots. And then looking at, well, we'll go run over to Tonga and see what's cooking there. And for tomorrow, looking at basically all Tonga coastal waters, quite a bit of breeze there too. Like I said, these isobars are compressed. Southeast 15 to 20, and that's rising 25 up to 34. That's 3-4. That's gale force, as you know, and they say rough to very rough seas, and I can believe it, 3 to 4 meters, and a heavy swell 3 to 4 meters. So not good to be out in open water in the Tonga chain Friday, for all of Tonga, southeast winds 15 to 20, and that's rising up to 25 to 34 gale force winds. And rough to very rough, as you can imagine, 3 to 4 meters, and a heavy swell 3 to 4 meters. That's huge. You just really don't want to be out there for that, folks, as you probably well know. So let's take a look at Vanuatu, and we'll look at the central area of Vanuatu, where most of you, I think, are. And we're looking at, well, today, according to what we could see, it's cloudy for the most part, southeast wave direction, 3.5 meters, and the wind speed about 30 knots. That's 30, and that's coming out of the southeast, and that's very rough seas. And we'll take a look at tomorrow and see what they think about that. And 2.5 meters on the swell, 25 knots for the wind out of the east. So they're holding true to that. And that again is the opportunity to go south. And then looking at Friday, they don't seem to have much of a change for Friday. It's quite possible they didn't really do Friday, and they're just repeating what they did Thursday. I don't know. Sometimes they do funny things. So that's the general picture. And if you have any questions, you can give us a call on the radio. And I think I'll give this back to the chief, and we'll see if we could find Rewa.
Okay, I'll give a call for Rewa. Rewa, Gulf Harbour.
Gulf Harbour, this is sailing vessel Rewa.
Oh, there you are, David. Good show and great progress by the look of things. Go ahead with your report.
Roger, I am. Rewa is at 25 degrees, 5-8 minutes. South, 177 degrees, 4-6 east. Wind is 27 knots, and boat speed is about 7-8 knots. So just the jib. It's still well aft of the beam. Seas are about 3 feet. Skies are partly cloudy.
So when you say the wind, which is 27 knots, you're looking at south still, is that correct?
That's correct. Roger that.
Ooh, interesting. Yeah.
I was right anyway.
Yeah, neither of us are correct here because we did have the model showing it would be a lot easier for you. So Rewa 2558 south, 17746 east, ripping along 7 to 8 knots just with the jib, presumably still going, well, it looked like north or 013 true, the AIS had you. So 27 knots, still from the south, and that's interesting. You're definitely going to get it backing with this high, but well, it looks like David's idea of the time frame was a lot more accurate than my GFS. Anyway, 1 meter seas, and it sounds like, well, certainly with that progress, you'll be very happy with it. It's good that you are ripping along because, as you know, with this high moving off, it will back.
What's the ETA?
And what is your ETA? Looking at things, David, over?
I'm looking at another probably 3 days. I'm not pushing it real hard. It's a pleasant sail. It's for the following seas. I think 3 meters is what I was meaning to say. I think I might have said 3 feet, 3 meters. But I'm giving myself 3 days to get up there.
Well, that's pretty good. I'm going to pass the microphone to David because, yeah, you've really worked this anticyclone well. Stand by.
Yeah, that's good. You're going to be pretty lucky on this one. The high definitely is moving east. In fact, I've got your arrival Saturday about lunchtime based on what you just said. Of course, I could be wrong. And that high is going to be quite east. It's going to be about 155 west, the center of it. However, it ridges straight toward New Caledonia, if you could believe it. So that means the isobars up around Fiji and Tonga are going to be fairly flat in terms of east to west direction. So that means your winds are looking like easterlies on arrival. And we're looking at about 20 knots, and there'll be higher gusts. In terms of what we see on the potential of rain, now you're pretty lucky. We've got a pretty good trough to the north of Fiji. In fact, very active, a lot of thunderstorm activity and whatnot. And the frontal band is nowhere near you. It's running from virtually New Zealand, runs to the south of New Caledonia, and then towards the Coral Sea. So nowhere near you, and it doesn't look like any rain on Saturday, the 17th. So, boy, that's a very, very good passage you've got. You're lucky you're not further south. Those that are south of 25 are going to have north to northeast winds and scattered showers. So, anyway, you did well. Over.
Back to you, David. Yeah, not hearing anything from Rewa, but he's certainly doing very well. Actually, it's been kind of strange looking at some of the vessels around. I've been looking at these, they've got a funny colour on the AIS because they're unidentified, so I went dug a bit deeper, and one was a Somali boat. So God knows what a Somali registration boat is doing here. I think it must be a little bit spurious. Anyway, I'll just check that David heard that. Are you still there, David?
Roger, still here. It looks like I might have some bumpy seas ahead, but still the horses are charging towards the barn.
Indeed they are. So keep the pedal to the metal there, and yes, enjoy a very nice passage. So yeah, it's interesting. Well, not surprising those 3-metre seas because of the what's further to the east and coming your way water-wise, but yeah, you can't complain about the speed. So really, really good. Okay, we'll clear with you and wish you well for the night. We'll check in again tomorrow. Is there anybody else for Gulf Harbour Radio? No, nothing heard. Very peaceful at this time of the year. It's a good time for me to go away. I, believe it or not, am travelling for 44 days with only carry-on luggage. So I have got it all packed and ready to go, despite the fact I'm not going till Monday, just to have a weigh-in, because you're only allowed 7 kgs in your overhead case. So I'm actually a couple of hundred, almost 300 grams over, but I'm sure that won't be a bother, seeing as I'm a little person. So that was all very successfully accomplished today. All right, everybody, have a good night. I wish it was as pleasant with you up there in the windy parts of the Southwest Pacific as it is here, but I'm sure you'll enjoy the greater warmth. Cheers, everybody. This is Gulf Harbour Radio Clear. If you want the frequency, it's all yours.